Silent Scope games on the PS2 in one review. This might be our longest video yet.
I'm scared.
I agree. I'm self-conscious enough about my voice as it is.
Come on all, it can't be that bad. Through the Nintendo power of friendship and dank memes, sponsored by Bud Light, we can make it through this.
Let's freaking smash it then.
I thought these games were developed and published by Konami. Why in Jigglypuff's name are we bringing up Nintendo?
You're right in that all three Silent Scope games were originally released in arcades in the early to mid-2000s by Konami, got mad views on TikTok, and suddenly found themselves on the premier consoles of their day. If you couldn't guess, we are reviewing the PS2 versions of these games and with a DualShock controller as well, since laser mouses on the PS2 don't work for shit.
Firstly, a little history lesson for your bumhole. The Silent Scope series debuted in arcades in 1999 with the release of the first game. Didn't you know? At a glance, it looks little more than a 64-bit version of Sega AM2's Virtua Cop. Critical enemy targeting reticles included. Konami's innovation lay in the game's use of a sniper rifle peripheral, which players used to aim and shoot targets on the screen. This hulking bit of plastic was integral to the game's success, providing a more immersive, hyper-realistic experience that differentiated it from other arcade shooters of the time, proving once more that Konami is indeed the dark horse of arcade game developers.
Following the success of the first game, Konami released Silent Scope 2, Dark Silhouette in 2000. This sequel expanded on the original's mechanics by adding a second playable character that gave you two different perspectives of each level. There is no multiplayer, though, because that requires two bulking plastic hunks and money doesn't grow on East Asian cherry trees, and Silent Scope wasn't that big of a hit, I guess. Nonetheless, Dark Silhouette's gimmicks kept the series fresh and engaging for players. The third entry, ignoring a token-based cabinet called Token Shot that no fucker knows nothing about, so forget it. Silent Scope 3 was launched in 2002, was actually two games in one. What a fine bargain. You not only get the third Silent Scope arcade game released in arcades, Silent Scope EEX, it's in the game's microtransactions, but you also get a big-ass campaign, developed exclusively for the PS2 called Silent Scope 3, CONFUSED. Feel the need to shit in your pants? I do too. Now we both know what Joe Biden is feeling right now.
This is an emergency.
Holy Jesus.
The narratives of each Silent Scope game, while secondary to their gameplay mechanics, provides a compelling backdrop for the action. In Silent Scope, players assume the role of a sniper working to thwart a terrorist group that has kidnapped the president's family. The mission spans various locations, including a football pitch. Wacky.
Silent Scope 2, Dark Silhouette continues the high-stakes action with a new plot involving a wacky bunch of coconuts, Jackal and Falcon, taking out a global terrorist network. Players are tasked with preventing these terrorists from executing their plans, which involve mass destruction and chaos, like putting your wheelie bins back on front drive after you push them out onto the curb for collection. Fucking bastards. Shoot them on sight, I say.
What happens if it's the next door neighbor's kid and not a global terrorist network?
Shoot that little cunt in the face too. It's my bins. Hands off of my bins.
You know, Zoe, when you hack a video doorbell, that doesn't automatically make you the owner of that house now.
I beg to differ, but Rishi, we will have a talk later about this after the review where my highly enlightened talking points will win you over, I am sure.
Fine, let's just get to the review or we might be here for a fucking hour or so.
Silent Scope X, the X in the title being an abbreviation for extreme, is pretty much business as usual, going in, taking out the bad guys to save the word etc. Only that there is less flavor and no references to Metal Gear Solid, unlike the second game. Unsubscribed.
It's showtime.
Now let's play Metal Gear for real.
Silent Scope 3, designed specifically for the PS2, introduces a fresh storyline that is more intricate and expensive. Players launch again step into the shoes of an elite sniper, this time confronting a new threat with deeper narrative elements and character development. The story is more integrated into the gameplay, making for a richer home console experience.
Story time is over. Now on to the games themselves.
Silent Scope and Silent Scope 2 are straight-up ports of their arcade counterparts to the PS2. While this transition allowed fans to enjoy the series at home, it also presented significant challenges. The most notable issue was the control scheme. As aforementioned, the arcade versions utilized the physical sniper rifle peripheral, the weight of which was pivotal to pulling off those sweet-ass headshots. On the PS2, players had to rely on either analog controls, which were far from ideal for the precision required in a sniper game, or a USB mouse, which for our human caregiver and sugar daddy, didn't work for shit and was worse than a controller. The lack of a peripheral significantly impacted the gameplay, making it less intuitive and more cumbersome. Even with light gun support, this would still be a problem. Even though calibration options improved with each subsequent entry, Silent Scope's central gimmick in this big-ass sniper rifle made it uniquely difficult importing it to home consoles. But here we are, 3.5 games deep, and it's not completely unplayable to be fair.
Additionally, the difficulty level of these ports was a major point of contention. The arcade versions were designed to be challenging to encourage continuous play and expenditure of money, all your fucking pocket money. This difficulty translated poorly to the home console environment, where players had limited lives and continued. It was not corrected, most likely because Konami thought that they would lose money in the arcades if the home ports were too easy. Many found Silent Scope and Silent Scope 2 to be too hard for home consoles, leading to frustration and a less enjoyable experience, reflected by the low prices the home console ports go for nowadays, unless it's the GBA port. Goddamn. The limited number of lives available made progression difficult, and the lack of a checkpoint system needlessly added to the challenge of a game you would have already paid nearly $100 in today's money for.
Silent Scope 3 marked a departure from the straightforward porting approach. Along with a port for Silent Scope X, there was another campaign developed exclusively for the PS2, a much hefty and longer boy. This campaign was designed with the home console environment in mind. As a result, it probably made the price tag a little more reasonable, hence why it far and away remains the most valuable of the Silent Scope PS2 ports.
One of the most significant changes was the adjustment of the difficulty level. Silent Scope 3 provided a more balanced challenge, giving players a fair chance to progress through the game. The number of lives and continues was increased, making it more accessible and less frustrating than the previous titles. This adjustment made Silent Scope 3 more enjoyable for players, offering a more rewarding and less punitive experience.
Add to this the enhanced calibration options. Even though it could never match up to the precision of the arcade sniper rifle peripheral, Silent Scope 3's gameplay is the smoothest and most responsive out of all the ports.
Wait. How are we going to respond to accusations of get good?
The official response by the Luddites rig group when it comes to accusations of get good is, and always will be, get fucked you fat little wank boys.
I concur. Why don't you play the game then, you obnoxious shits?
Yes, you, 12-year-old scrub, playing Fall Guys or some other Chinese communist plot to turn the frogs gay and accuse families of school shooting victims of making the whole thing up. Take 6 or so hours out of your day to get through this 24-year-old game, with the minuscule amount of continues the PS2 version provides. Go ahead, it'll wait. Look, there's even training and challenge modes for you to get good. Though I imagine, God tier COD player like you won't need them.
Trust Gamergate to make things awkward for everyone.
Don't we all do that though? It's something called the Ubkanivsky effect.
Despite the inconvenient controls and needless amount of difficulty of the first 2 entries, all Silent Scope games on the PS2 are still worth getting. They are fun and challenging light gun games from a company that don't get as much credit as they should when it comes to their arcade output. Get the lot for little over 10 British pounds from Sex this very day. Fare thee well.